The old theater stood on Cedar Street. Its faded sign still blinked and beat. A handwritten note upon the glass, final showing before we close. You squeezed my arm and softly smiled, the same way you did as a child. I bought 2 tickets out of habit, like no time had passed at all. We sat beneath those velvet seats where nervous hands first learned to meet. The silver screen had lost its shine, but not the memories in our minds. Neon on the marquee, still spelling out your name to me. The movie changed, the years rolled by, but you still steal my breath sometimes. Neon on the marquee, flickering faithfully. Some places disappear with time, but first love leaves the lights behind. The projector hummed its tired tune, dust danced softly through the room. You laughed about the night I spilled popcorn all across your shoes. I apologized once more for fun. You said I'd let you ruin another one, then leaned your head against my shoulder like you always do. The credits fade for every show, curtains fall and seasons go, but love isn't measured by how long things stay. It's how deeply they remain. Neon on the marquee, still spelling out your name to me. The movie changed, the years rolled by, but you still steal my breath sometimes. Neon on the marquee, flickering faithfully. Some places disappear with time, but first love leaves the lights behind. One day this street may look brand new, without the signs we once knew, but somewhere inside this aging heart, the opening scene still plays. A shy hello, a shared armrest, a love story beginning quietly. Neon on the marquee, one last showing for you and me. No standing ovation, no grand goodbye, just your hand resting close to mine. Neon on the marquee, the final picture fades to black, but of all the stories I have loved, ours is the one I'd watch again. The ushers locked the theater doors, rain shimmered on the sidewalk floor. You looked at me beneath the glowing sign and asked, do you still wanna catch the late show with me? boarding passes in your coat, reading glasses, travel notes. You checked our gate 3 times or more, then asked me if I'd packed yours. You took the window, then changed your mind, said, "No, sweetheart, the view is mine." I laughed and let you have your way, like I always do these days. The runway lights began to glow. You squeezed my hand a little close. Funny how new dreams still arrive, even after all this time. Under apricot skies, above the worries we once knew, the clouds drifted by like old love songs, and I drifted closer to you. Under apricot skies, the whole world open wide. Who says wonder belongs to the young? We still have stars left in our eyes. You pointed at a cotton sea, said, "That one looks like Tennessee." Another shape just like a train, heading somewhere through the rain. The stewardess brought tea for 2. You thanked her like your mother taught you. And somehow in that tiny row, life still found room to grow. There are maps we never traced, countries we may never name, but the greatest journey I've ever known has always been your hand in mine. Under apricot skies, above the worries we once knew, the clouds drifted by like old love songs, and I drifted closer to you. Under apricot skies, the whole world open wide. Who says wonder belongs to the young? We still have stars left in our eyes. Once we raced through borrowed years, saving pennies, quieting fears. Now we know the secret truth. Adventure doesn't end with age, it simply changes shape and asks if we're still brave enough to say yes. Under apricot skies, the sunset brushed your silver hair. I watched your reflection in the glass and whispered a silent prayer. Under apricot skies, thank heaven we still try. Of all the places left to see, my favorite view is you beside me. The captain dimmed the cabin lights. You rested softly by my side, and somewhere high above the world, we fell in love with life again. handed me a paper list written in your hurried script. Milk and bread and coffee beans, peaches if they look sweet. I pushed the cart, you led the way, stopping every aisle to say, we don't need another pie, then tossed to him with a smile. Somewhere between canned soup and rice, you argued over which brand tasted right. I pretended to disagree, just to hear you tease me. Paper lists and peaches under fluorescent lights. Who would have guessed forever would look this ordinary and bright? Paper lists and peaches, you laughing in aisle 3. And suddenly I realized this is my favorite memory. You checked expiration dates, I snuck cookies into place. You caught me with that knowing stare, the same one from the county fair. The cashier called us sweethearts, asked how long we'd played our part. You squeezed my hand and answered, long enough to know we're lucky. No orchestra filled the air, no chandeliers hanging there, yet love kept dancing quietly between shopping carts and peaches. Paper lists and peaches under fluorescent lights. Who would have guessed forever would look this ordinary and bright? Paper lists and peaches, you laughing in aisle 3. And suddenly I realized this is my favorite memory. Youth taught us how to fall in love, middle years taught us how to stay. But growing older showed us something else, that joy often arrives disguised as the smallest parts of everyday life. Paper lists and peaches, one slow Tuesday night. No grand adventures left to chase, just your hand fitting into mine. Paper lists and peaches, a love both soft and true. If I could relive any scene, I'd still choose shopping with you. The parking lot reflected rain. You buckled in and called my name, then held up one forgotten peach and said, looks like we still need each other to remember things.
The boardwalk wore a different face. Empty benches, slower pace. The summer postcards had moved on, leaving only gulls and dawn. You tucked my scarf beneath my coat, said the ocean still knows how to sing. I laughed and said, so do your knees. You rolled your eyes at me. No carnival lights, no children's cries, just silver water meeting sky. Funny how the quiet seasons bring the truest conversations. Seagulls don't stay for winter, but darling, we still do. Watching waves erase the footprints, only to begin anew. Seagulls don't stay for winter, the cold wind always knows. Love isn't meant to chase the sunshine. Sometimes it learns to bloom in snow. We shared hot coffee by the pier, talked about forgotten years. You pointed toward the lighthouse beam and all the places we had been. A dog ran loose along the shore. You smiled the way you did before, the same bright grin from younger days, only softer at the edges. The world celebrates springtime love, young hands reaching toward the stars, but no one speaks enough about the beauty of staying. Seagulls don't stay for winter, but darling, we still do. Watching waves erase the footprints, only to begin anew. Seagulls don't stay for winter, the cold wind always knows. Love isn't meant to chase the sunshine. Sometimes it learns to bloom in the snow. There was a time I feared the years, measured life in borrowed mirrors. Now I only count the mornings I still wake beside you, because growing older never stole romance. You taught it how to breathe slower. Seagulls don't stay for winter, yet here we stand somehow, with silver threaded through our hair, and wonder in us now. Seagulls don't stay for winter, but I'd stay anywhere, as long as your weathered hand still reaches for mine. The tide rolled in beneath the pier, November whispered in our ears. You kissed my forehead in the salt cold breeze and said, let's come back when the beach is empty again.
A baseball glove behind the door, old report cards in the drawer, one forgotten sweater hanging there, still carrying traces of years. You folded boxes on the floor, pausing at each bedroom door. The hallway echoed differently, without young footsteps running free. I saw you wipe away a tear, then laugh and say it's awfully quiet here. Funny how a house can shrink and somehow grow at once. Rooms still hold your laughter, even after you've moved on. The walls remember bedtime songs and all the nights that felt too long. Rooms still hold your laughter, soft as Sunday morning light. And now that it's just me and you, perhaps love begins again tonight. The kitchen clock kept steady time as we packed away the crayon signs, tiny handprints by the stairs, proof that love had lived right there. You found a photograph of us, young and hopeful, on a bus. You smiled and said, "Look at our hair," then leaned into my shoulder. We spent so many years giving away pieces of ourselves with joy, and now the silence gently asks, what will you do with each other? Rooms still hold your laughter, even after you've moved on. The walls remember bedtime songs and all the nights that felt too long. Rooms still hold your laughter, soft as Sunday morning light. And now that it's just me and you, perhaps love begins again tonight. One chapter closes quietly without applause or ceremony, but endings sometimes leave the space for forgotten dances to return. We weren't losing what we built, we were being handed back to each other. Rooms still hold your laughter, and always, always will. But tonight, the house feels different, not emptier, just still. Rooms still hold your laughter, while moonlight paints the floor. And after loving everyone else first, I get to fall for you once more. You reached across the moving boxes, pulled me gently by the hand. The record player started turning, and in the middle of the empty living room, we danced.
Tuesday nights at 6:30. The church hall floor needed fixing, but someone pinned a paper sign. Beginner ballroom lessons. You laughed and said we're far too old. I said, then let's prove them wrong. So we tied our comfortable shoes and walked right through those doors. You missed the count, I missed it too. Stepped on your toes, you blamed my shoes. The whole room smiled while we pretended we knew exactly what to do. Quarter steps and second chances, spinning slow beneath old lanterns. Love isn't finished when youth is gone. Sometimes it learns a brand new song. Quarter steps and second chances, a little awkward, still enchanting. After all these passing years, you still make me nervous. Mrs. Evans led the line. Mr. Clark kept losing time. The old piano played too fast, but somehow everyone kept laughing. You whispered, watch my left foot first. I whispered back, you're getting worse. Then pulled you close enough to hear your heartbeat match the rhythm. Some dreams don't arrive on cue, they simply wait for older shoes. And joy has never cared about the age written on our hands. Quarter steps and second chances, spinning slow beneath old lanterns. Love isn't finished when youth is gone. Sometimes it learns a brand new song. Quarter steps and second chances, a little awkward, still enchanting. After all these passing years, you still make me nervous. We once thought romance meant moonlit skies, diamond rings and long goodbyes. Now I think it's sweetest art is choosing wonder over habit. Because growing older isn't standing still, it's finding new ways to dance. Quarter steps and second chances, our silver shadows softly swaying. No perfect posture, no flawless turns, just faithful hearts still learning. Quarter steps and second chances, thank heaven we said yes, for the greatest gift of loving you was never having to stop beginning again. The hall grew quiet, chairs were stacked. You helped me with my cardigan, then offered me your weathered hand. Same time next Tuesday.
It slipped out from an old shoebox beneath the attic dust and clocks. A folded page in faded blue, addressed in careful script to you. I recognized my younger hand, the hopeful boy I used to be, a little nervous, overly sure, certain love could conquer anything. You read the lines and laughed out loud at all the promises I'd vowed, then wiped a tear I wasn't meant to see and handed it back to me. The letter we never threw away still had our younger hearts between the lines, dreams misspelled and midnight plans written in borrowed time. The letter we never threw away somehow survived the years and reminded us the people we once were, never truly disappeared. You found the part where I had sworn I'll hold your hand when we are old. I teased, at least I got that right. You smiled and squeezed it tight. There were train tickets tucked inside a pressed white flower, ticket stubs, little proof that ordinary days had become our greatest treasures. No photograph can fully keep the way two hopeful hearts once dreamed, but ink remembers what time forgets and waits to be discovered. The letter we never threw away still had our younger hearts between the lines, dreams misspelled and midnight plans written in borrowed time. The letter we never threw away somehow survived the years and reminded us the people we once were, never truly disappeared. If I could speak to that young man standing with a trembling hand, I'd tell him not to be afraid. The road won't always follow maps. You'll lose some things and gain much more, and she'll still be there in the end. The letter we never but not the love beneath it. The letter we never threw away still whispers soft and true of all the vows I've ever made. My favorite one was you. The attic window caught the rain. You folded up the page again, then tucked it safely back inside the box, right where forever keeps its smallest miracles.
The dishes dried upon the rack, the evening settled at our backs. 2 rocking chairs, 1 woolen throw, the garden breathing soft and slow. You pointed upward through the trees, naming constellations back to me. Half of them were probably wrong, but I still loved listening. There was a time we chased the world, certain happiness lives somewhere else. Funny how it found us here on Oak Street after all. Old stars over Oak Street, still shining patiently. We didn't get everything we dreamed, we got everything we need. Old stars over Oak Street, watching over you and me. And if heaven asked what joy looks like, I'd show them this evening. You spoke about the life we'd made, the debts we paid, the risks we braved, the children grown, the laughter stored inside these weathered wooden floors. I rested softly on your shoulder, the night air carrying hints of clover, and somewhere deep inside my chest a quiet thankfulness bloomed. Not every wish came true, it's true, but every storm led back to you. And looking back, I wouldn't trade a single imperfect day. Old stars over Oak Street, still shining patiently. We didn't get everything we dreamed, we got everything we need. Old stars over Oak Street, watching over you and me. And if heaven asked what joy looks like, I'd show them this evening. Youth once felt like endless roads, always needing something more. Now I know the richest souls learn to treasure what they've held. And love isn't the absence of longing, it's finally understanding enough. Old stars over Oak Street, please linger just a while. The moon can take its time tonight, we've waited long enough. Old stars over Oak Street, silver in your eyes and mine. Of all the miracles I've known, growing old with you was my favorite. The crickets hum their lullaby, the porch light painted amber lines, and beneath those old familiar stars, we sat in perfect silence.